Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Santa Podcast. I'm Tiny, your host. With me, as always, is Adam Levy. Adam, how are you this evening?
I'm doing good, Mike. How are you doing?
I am as happy. I don't even know how happy I am. I'm so happy that they won't even sell me pets anymore at the Pet Express.
Yeah, I heard of that about you.
They're on to me. So let's get the business out of the way. New podcast coming up tomorrow night, Fantasy Monkeys. Check that out if you like the fantasy football. This Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern, I'm doing important questions. First show, we're going to talk about important question number one: what happened at Comic Con over the weekend? So we will be discussing the truly important issues on that podcast.
Nice.
Those are both coming up this week.
And I won't be there for that one.
Tonight we got Preacher 109. One more to go.
Finish the Song was the name of this episode.
That was the name. It's a fitting name, as it did open in 1881 with the cowboy walking into Ratwater. And little did you know, you were going to see this a lot tonight.
Yeah. Yes. Ratwater was shown very frequently in this episode, or at least multiple times. Let's say multiple times.
If the Butcher of Gettysburg killed 77 men, then they showed him going to Ratwater 77 times.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So that was quite an opening. He goes in and just blows the whole place to hell.
Yeah, and, the preacher man, sitting there talking about how Ratwater takes everybody in. It's like a haven for, the Christians and the sinners and all of the people. And they're willing to take in the Butcher of Gettysburg, too, if he's willing to accept Jesus in his heart.
Yeah, something tells me he was not ready for that.
No. The only thing he was accepting was lead.
And he dispersed so much that I thought, and you will come to the understanding of why there is an everlasting supply of bullets. Because where he's at doesn't really, bullets don't count.
Yeah. So, and I like the fact that he spared the singer a bullet and just chopped his head off.
I thought he was gonna really spare the singer for a split second, and then I was like, no, that would be stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I guess a bullet was too good for a guy with a voice like that, because that guy could sing, and why spoil a gift like that?
He was no what was the guy, William Hung? He was no William Hung.
That would have been awesome if they got William Hung for that role and have him do like She Bang or something like that.
I would like to go and see like a Scott Pilgrim versus the World song battle between that guy and DeBlanc doing the song for Genesis.
The little lullaby.
They could go battle the bands head to head. I think that would be super fun.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah, see,
the battle of hell.
Yeah, see, sadly, this scene, this was up until this point. This was the one scene in the comic book, the one scene in the show that was still pretty faithful to the comic book origin of this character. And this is pretty much where that all went off the rails.
Right.
I'm not going
at Comic-Con, I watched parts of the Preacher panel, and Seth said it, and Garth Ennis also said this was his favorite scene of the series so far.
Yeah, I mean, it does go to show you just what kind of man he is. But it wasn't until after he was given his gift that he went back and laid waste to the city of Ratwater. Initially his intention when he went back was just to take out the gang that waylaid him from getting home on time. And he didn't finish that task. And he had a lot of unfinished business when he went to hell. And when they sent him back, he just, laid waste to every single person in that town, man, woman, child, it didn't matter. If they were moving, they got a bullet.
Okay, and I think the reason they did it was, to speed up a story process.
They did, and it also plays into what happens at the end of the episode by changing.
As long as we're there, we might as well take a look around for a certain other person who's might be lingering about.
Well, not even that, but we'll talk about it later. But by making the major antagonist in Ratwater a preacher, that really sets up the ending of the episode.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
Because in
So
the
we
book,
did
the
get,
preacher was just one of the guys in the gang who just happened to be there.
right, and luckily they set up the preacher in, what was it, episode 2?
I believe so, yeah.
And when he comes up and says, I know you from somewhere, and then shot his horse and the whole bit.
Yeah.
So he's got it out for the preacher just from the get go.
Oh yeah,
And
the preacher just done messed up from the start. Should have just kept his mouth
like
shut.
I said, you've seen the episode if you're watching this, so at the end he says, "We want you to kill a preacher," and he's like, "Oh fuck yeah,
Yeah,
like I'm down for that shit." Yeah, right on.
Yeah. The other thing is, though, and this kind of goes back to that ending part too, is at this point, we don't really know if he's the saint of killers. He's just, as far as we know, he's just this cowboy in hell who likes to kill people.
Yeah, he pretty much cemented himself as the saint of killers after that massacre, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I mean, without actually having seen what transpires to make him the saint of killers, I don't know if we will, if they'll ever actually call him that. I'm hoping they do because, yeah, I mean, he's a very important character to the story.
Do you think that was a better opening than episode 2?
As far as action wise, yeah. I mean, that was probably one of the most violent openings I've seen.
All right, does it take over the hotel scene with the bodies stacking up?
See, that had a mixture of just like of comedy and action. So I mean, it kind of hit on both levels. This one was just straight brutality.
It was fairly brutal.
I mean, that you see that girl standing by the wall behind the piano who just gets hit in the gut and flies into the wall. I mean, that's just, there's nothing funny about any of this stuff.
A brief second after her pack explodes, yeah. She was a little late on that one.
Just a little bit, yeah. But I mean, this scene was just straight violence and brutality, and just to show you what kind of an evil bastard this guy was in his former life.
And he's now going to be on the tail of our faithful gang, it looks like.
Yeah.
So that was the beautiful opening, and yeah, it's right up there. I don't know that it was my favorite scene of the series so far, but it was right up there.
I mean, I'd say it had some shock value for just the way he laid waste to everybody in that bar.
Yeah, you want to take some speculation on who the heads were in the bag over his shoulder? Was it the family?
What family? The one he saw on the way? Well, no. Oh, well, I don't know. There's like 4 or 5 heads in the bag. Maybe it was the people from the tree outside.
Okay.
But I mean, we really have no idea.
Yeah, no idea. Just a bunch of heads in a bag.
I think he was carrying him in a flag.
Joe Pesci comes running out.
It looked like
8 heads in that flag.
Yeah, he was carrying him in a tied up flag, which was, I mean, that's pretty hardcore right there.
A little bit. So then we got what we talked about last week, and we hoped it would happen. We went right back to where they left off, and where the hell is Eugene?
Exactly. Yeah, he finally asked the question.
Thank God that he came back and addressed that right off the top. I was very happy to get that out. I was like, good, all right, thank you.
Yeah.
And Jesse tells him straight up, he sent him to hell.
And in Hugo's mind, Hugo's taking that literally, thinking, okay, this guy just killed my son.
Killed him. Right.
He doesn't realize that Jesse's got this power and that Jesse literally forced him to teleport down into hell.
So Jesse, again, Root tells this story about the guy diving off of the top bunk in the prison and successfully, after several attempts. So to punish everybody else, they took all the top bunks down.
Yeah.
So no more.
They don't want child killers. They don't want child killers to get off easy. But yeah, and
that's why Orange is the New Black is all single beds. True story.
Yeah. No, I haven't seen the last season yet, so I don't know. But
oh really? Want to tell you who dies? Catch up or be left behind. But he gets out of the back of the squad car. Jesse does, like MacGyver.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Like he gets a pen, bends it up. Poof.
Yeah. You didn't even see the pen until after Hugo finds out. But like, he gets out, the door still closed. It's like, what the hell did he do? And then he sees that bent up pen.
It was awesome.
Yeah, no, he's a.
See you Sunday. Peace.
Yeah. Yeah, and I didn't realize what he said at first. I had to go back and listen to it. It's like, oh yeah, see you on Sunday, and then he's out the door, and I'm like, holy shit. Yeah, and I guess this really goes back to show Jesse's, checkered past. I'm sure this isn't the first time he's had to jump out of a cop car.
Right. He can obviously get out of a place where he's not supposed to get out of.
Yeah.
I've been in the back of a squad car, allegedly, and you can't get out of the back of those so easy.
They are not easy to get out of. They're designed to be that way.
I'd say allegedly. Yeah. I say allegedly, but it was a small right.
Yeah.
So Piora and DeBlanc are going to book a vacation, it looks like, and they go to the travel agent. And she's got Lobster Carnival and Rod Stewart. You can go see all these things and like everything you want, but they want to go a little farther south. And for that, she has to cover the bird.
Yeah. I don't know what the bird is. I mean, the bird is the word, I guess, but I don't know why the bird has to be covered when she's going to book him a trip to hell.
Everybody knows about the bird.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this.
Yeah, no, that's as far as we need to go with that one.
Yeah, it's going to turn into a whole Family Guy episode.
Yeah.
So they have interesting careers. They have to write down their careers. And a serial killer and an architect.
And an architect.
Yeah. So I actually paused the thing as it was printing out.
Uh-huh.
So I could read it. So it says the cost of their trip was $346.50 each. Beverage not included.
Meh.
Their class was Nimrod.
Their what?
Nimrod was the class. It said class Nimrod.
Oh.
But I thought $346.50 beverage not included.
Yeah, I mean that's not a bad price. I mean, I don't know if you could book that on Expedia or Travelocity and maybe get it a little cheaper, but
well, apparently she's the gal with the ticket. You know, she's the one you have to go to. She's like the Reaper at the River Styx.
Yeah, and I don't, but the question is what side is she working on? Is she working, is she somewhere in the middle because, she threatened to turn them into heaven, and they threatened to do
Nader. She's working in the middle.
Yeah, they threatened to do the same thing to her. So it's like, okay, well, nobody wants to get busted on this transaction.
Yeah, so they're going to turn her in. She was going to turn them in. And my favorite bit is like, she's like, just 20 minutes with the big one in the back. And he's like, all right, fine, whatever. Like, I'll do it. And he's like, no. And I'm like, what a cock blocker.
Seriously, he was all down for it too. I mean,
let him get his groove on.
Yeah. I mean, that's why you go to Earth for, to get some
wasn't the greatest, maybe.
But yeah, there's probably not a whole lot of choice up in heaven. I mean, I don't know what the angels are allowed to interact with, if they're allowed to interact with all the people up there.
The girls that I want, but see, we're getting into an area where we don't want to discuss this. But the girls that I want to hang out with are not in heaven. Let's just say that.
I hear you.
All right. So, Emily, poor Emily, she shows up over there. Did we know why she showed up over there?
I have to assume that Tulip called her. That's the only reason I could see why she would have shown up.
But she shows up over there and she's like, don't freak out. Cassidy's a vampire and we got to feed him gerbils and shit to keep him alive. And she's like, all right.
Yeah, Tulip, I don't know what changed in Tulip between last episode and this episode, because all of a sudden she's had an ass full of taking care of Cassidy. He's not healing up properly, and she's pretty much thrown her hands up in the air in regards to Jesse. And we find out later on what's so important that she has to take off and leave Emily in charge of Cassidy for.
She's going to look for the blue meth in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
She obviously visited Los Polos Hermanos because that's where the shuttle picks everybody up, apparently, no matter what show you're on.
Yes, AMC. I saw somebody post that on Facebook. Yeah, that the shuttle stop was the exact same place from Breaking Bad.
It is it's the only shuttle stop in AMC land, and I'm surprised Don Draper never ended up there. But I recognized it immediately and was like, oh my God.
Yeah, it was pretty obvious.
So this is going to bring us to this week's hashtag. Last week's hashtag food court was a big hit. This week, hashtag underpass pancakes.
Oh, wait, there's one more thing. Emily talks about, Tulip says that, she can have Jesse now because she's done. And Emily's like, oh, no, it's okay. I'm dating the mayor. I'm covered.
I'm not the mayor. He's my man.
Yeah, which was odd. She's never, I don't know what it is. She's just trying to kind of show off to Tulip that, hey, I've got my own man. I don't need yours or what. But this is the first time she's ever, aside from just the booty call action with the mayor, this is the first time she's ever actually kind of said, okay, yeah, we're dating. And I know there wasn't any, she wasn't serious about it. I think it was just, girl talk. But yeah,
I think it was that you can't give him to me. I already have a man.
Yeah,
like I don't know what you're throwing.
I don't need your sloppy seconds.
Aisha Tyler would be way better at that than I would. But
yeah, she would.
But yeah, that's basically what I think it boiled down to was, you can have him, and now I don't want him. I mean,
Yeah,
I wanted him when I couldn't have him, but now I can have him. I don't want him.
exactly.
No girl in the world has ever pulled that bullshit.
No. No.
You all have. You know it. All right, so let's get to Underpass Pancakes, because that was about my favorite scene in the world. Underpass Pancakes and a nice Merlot for breakfast. That is the way to go if you're hanging out with Jackie and the unnamed dude underneath the underpass.
Yeah. Jesse's like, Merlot for breakfast? And they're like, yeah. He's like, okay.
Just why not? Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
yeah, when you're on the
agreed.
Yeah, when you're on the lam and you're hanging out with hobos under the overpass eating pancakes in the morning, why not have a glass of Merlot?
Look, I've been to several 6 Bonnaroos, and there's never been a Saturday I didn't wake up and it was beer o'clock. So
no,
I understand
get you.
a nice Merlot with breakfast.
And I spent a week in Mexico for my senior trip, and it was always beer o'clock.
Right, always. So apparently she makes some pretty damn fine pancakes, and they got syrup. And Jesse's just, how are you going to bring God down here? And he's like, just come find out. I got a plan.
Yeah. Yeah, Jesse is not worried at all. I mean, for a guy that is being accused of murder by the sheriff and considered a criminal for what he did in the church, he does not have a care in the world.
No, he's just walking about town.
Yeah.
He's cradling the Jesus phone, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
So Emily feeds Cassidy gerbil as Miles yammers on the phone about he's going to stay over, and he's putting his foot down, and damn, them kids are going to see me in the morning.
Yeah, Miles grew a pair on that phone call. I mean, ever since
she wasn't even listening to him.
No, which made it.
What? Well, yeah, sure, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, which made his whole like manning up moment even that much weaker, because he's sitting there, you're like, this is how it's going to be, and she's just not even paying attention.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, Miles. Shut up.
Yeah,
fine. Just all right. So she tosses the gerbil in there, and she cannot help herself. She has to take a look, and we got to see a half-healed Cassidy. And I got to say, that makeup job, damn impressive.
It was. And as when you see him later on, too, I mean, yeah, they put some work into that.
That was extra. I gave him a little bit of crap for our space in the church and all the dirt, but let me tell you what, they nailed half-composed Cassidy.
Well, see, that's why they couldn't make our space look good with the dirt, because all the money went to the Cassidy makeup.
I guess it did. It's quite possible, because he looked great.
Yeah.
So I was glad that they cut to that, because I had seen like a still photo of him and Jesse face to face.
Okay.
And I didn't want the first person, the first reveal. I didn't want it to be with Jesse.
Yeah.
I wanted to see it through somebody else's eyes. I'm glad it was Emily's, because Emily's got problems, yo.
Yeah, I mean,
so,
Emily's one of the most
TV?
Conflicted people in this episode. I mean, she's been pretty much the same character all the way through. She's looking to take care of her church. She's looking to take care of her family. She wants Jesse. She's looking out for everybody involved. But I mean, you start to see her. I mean, you saw a little bit of change after Jesse started acting crazy with Genesis, but here, she doesn't care anymore. She's like,
she's gonna snap here in a minute.
Yeah, I mean, she shrugged off that Cassie was a vampire. She just accepted that, like, okay, whatever.
Quick, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, she's become a very different character.
Yeah, and they're bouncing these ladies around so much with the way their characters are, where Emily's is just meek as hell one day, and the next day she's watching Psycho and throwing Miles to the wolves, literally. And then Tulip one day is stuffing a corn cob in a guy's mouth, and the next day she's crying over a dog.
Yeah,
they got them on these big giant swinging roller coasters that I think they're just too far, and they need to bring them to just in.
Well, yeah. Well, at least this episode we kind of saw a return to the original Tulip.
A little bit, yeah.
We saw her getting back to the character, that badass woman that we were introduced to in the first couple episodes, and I appreciated that.
But that shit didn't make any sense either. Let's face it. If this guy was so big and tough, how come she didn't need no help?
No,
I mean, so yeah, we'll get there.
We'll get there.
All right. So, you got anything else on Emily in that first bit?
No. I think we're good there.
All right. So, Bjorn and DeBlanc, the boys, they're getting ready to bug out of town, and it's coin flip time.
They haven't done a coin flip in ages.
He hasn't done a coin flip in ages. So, first coin flip, hell. No, 2 out of 3, heaven. Thank God heaven wins.
Yeah. Get the phone.
So we'll get the phone, and who would check under a bed? It's a perfect hiding spot. It's so clever.
Yeah. I love the fact that the room was still bloody and destroyed. They didn't even bother to clean anything up in that place.
I mentioned it briefly when I was watching with the girl, and I said, like, the still fucking a mess.
Yeah.
Like, you'd think they would at least, scrub the walls down. Nope.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a good.
That's going to come back in a big way that shocked me a little more than it should have, and I felt gullible.
Yeah,
I felt gullible at the end.
Yeah.
All right, so hell it is, and that's all there is to that, really.
Yeah,
they lost the phone. They searched the room. It's not there, and we see Jesse's got it as he's out hiding from the cops.
See, I didn't even know when Jesse took the phone.
No, they didn't bother to show that. They were just like, nope. And they didn't even explain it. They just showed him, and I was like, oh. Like, I had to watch it the second time to be like, oh, shit, he has the phone. I get it.
Yeah, as soon as I cut to him, I'm like, oh, he's holding the phone. But it's like, where did he get the phone? When did he get the phone? And how does he know what the hell this phone is?
No idea. Oh, he knew what the phone was. They told him what the phone was.
Oh, that's right. They did tell him about it, yeah.
So, because they told him angel hands.
Yes.
So, he knew where the phone was, but no, they didn't bother going into how he got it. He did it.
Yeah.
So then Emily was literally sitting watching Psycho.
Yeah. And it's like the conversation that they were having in the movie pretty much mirrored what she was going through at the time.
Correct.
What was it? About being stuck in their own private traps and things like that. That's exactly where she was at this point in the show.
And we got a bunch of people out there that are fans of the Bates Motel thing, and that's coming to an end in season 5, I think. So a little Psycho shout out for them is always nice.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. If you're going to tie any movie into Preacher, and there's a lot of ways you could have gone, using that particular scene from Psycho and how she's just sitting there stroking the rabbit, just
it looked like a Bond villain.
Yeah, complete Bond villain. And I was like, she kept stroking the rabbit. I'm like, just throw the rabbit in there and let's be done with it.
Yeah.
And then we cut over to Owen's office where they horseplay.
I called it the QMP Fight Club.
QMP Fight Club? All right, I'm down. First rule of QMP Fight Club, take your shirt off, apparently.
Yeah.
Second rule is don't talk about it. And third, apparently you're allowed to answer your phone.
Of course. Well, he's the mayor. He's important, Town business takes priority over a Fight Club.
Does it?
Well, maybe not in Anvil.
I think Fight Club comes first. Yeah, so he gets called, Miles gets called, and it's Emily, and oh God, he got out. Come save me, Miles. Come save me. I'm locked in the clique.
Yeah, she's playing that damsel in distress card very good.
And he's just like, yep, I'm on my horse. I'm going over to save you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Miles, dude.
He is definitely, I don't know if I'd say whooped, but, he knows that if he saves her, there's no question he'll be staying over that night and probably the next night after that.
Now, I had no doubt in my mind that once he got the call, Miles was a dead man.
Yeah.
What I didn't know was how he was going to go down.
No.
Because when she shuts the door and locks it behind him, my jaw hit the floor like, holy shit.
Yeah, I pretty much had the exact same reaction. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't quite sure what to think. Maybe Cassie had gotten out, but at the same time, seeing how bad he was, I don't think he could have done much damage had he gotten out, or he would have been much good getting out in that condition.
Do you think that we were missing as viewers a growing together of Emily and Cassidy before this grand gesture of here's my boyfriend, go ahead and survive?
No, I mean, they've never really. Every interaction with Cassidy and Emily has kind of been, she just thinks he's a piece of shit. He's some kind of freeloader who's hanging out in the church, who's just kind of taking advantage of Jesse's kindness, and he's just another obstacle in the path between her and Jesse.
So that you think her motivation was strictly the execution and disposal of Miles?
Oh yeah, totally. Especially after last week, the conversation her and Miles had outside the church, where he's like, "Oh yeah, Jesse's a criminal. I have no problem helping Odin take the church, because it's all for the betterment of the town." I think at that point she was done with him.
Okay, so this just gave her an excellent way to get rid of him, and it again shocked me. I really didn't see it coming.
Yeah, I didn't think she had it in her.
It was two things in this episode that shocked me, and this one was legit, and the second one I should have seen.
Okay,
I should have seen it coming. I didn't. So we're there anyway. So Sheriff Root gets called to the Angels hotel room because it's a fucking disaster area.
Yeah.
And she finds dun dun dun
the angel.
The surprise that got me. The girl that was the angel. Is she an angel?
She was a seraphim. Yeah, she's one of the warrior angels.
So she's in the bathtub, hacked up, all boxing Helena style. No arms, no legs, still living. So she doesn't reinvigorate.
Yeah.
And she's begging Root to kill her. And of course, he, being a good man, obliges.
Yeah. I mean, this goes back to the whole fight scene where they kept shouting, "Don't kill her, don't kill her." So they finally found a way to keep her from getting out and causing damage by chopping off the arms and the legs, and leaving her in a bathtub full of ice because it's hot in Texas.
Right. And you don't want it to smell.
And they were nice enough to leave the radio on for her too.
They did leave the radio on for us. So that was sweet.
But yeah,
I was waiting for the hotel guy to come walking in, and once she reinvigorated behind him, I was really thinking maybe Root was going to take the old dirt nap, but no, she just walks off into the sunset.
Well, I don't think as an angel she would have had any cause to kill Root. She did. He wouldn't
either.
I can't see it. Especially as an agent of heaven, just murdering somebody in cold blood goes against everything that they're for. So I'm not surprised that Hugo made it out alive. I'm surprised that he did just strangle the shit out of her, and that look on his face as he's doing it, that was, like, I don't know, like part of it was like he had anger he wanted to get out, because the part of him looked like he was pissed off, and then he looked like he was conflicted. Then he was crying at the end.
Well, I'm sure he's carrying around a lot of emotions about Eugene, and what's wrong with Eugene's face and where Eugene is, and I mean he's got a lot of things going on.
Well, I mean, you almost never really see him have any kind of emotion towards Eugene whatsoever, except indifference. The fact that Eugene is missing is like the first time we've seen Hugo show any kind of concern for the well-being of his son.
I don't think so. I think in front of Eugene he's shown indifference, but to other people, including Ken Cannon and Jesse, he's always asked about Eugene. So he is taking care of Eugene. He just doesn't let Eugene know that he's taking care of Eugene.
Okay, I can see that.
All right. I mean, I definitely see that. He's my boy's missing. He's said it multiple times. He told the guys when somebody said, look at his face. Who said that? Who said that? So he was standing up for him.
Yeah. So
I'm going to give this version of Sheriff Root 1 thumb up.
There you go. And there's a great actor playing him. So,
he is. He's amazing. He's doing so good. So good. So Emily decides to set the remaining guinea pigs free after, Cassidy's had a full meal. And Jesse comes looking for Tulip, and she's gone to Albuquerque.
Oh, well, we missed the Angels catching the shuttle.
Oh, I did skip over the shuttle. I'm sorry. And it says, straight out of Breaking Bad, shuttle service via distant vistas, no carry-ons.
Yeah.
What about my comics?
I love that line.
Oh, don't leave behind your comics.
Yeah, I just left them on the side of the road for some kid to find out. I hope there's nothing else besides comics in that trunk.
So sad. What about my comics?
Yeah, because
it broke my heart a little bit right there.
Because Fiore is just a big kid at heart.
He is. So yeah, no carry-ons.
No. I guess you can't.
So so they take that was seriously straight out of Breaking Bad. I don't know if it was an homage or They still had, a permit to shoot there or what, but
or it's a soundstage somewhere in the lot they shoot at. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was great. I like Distant Vistas.
Yeah.
That was cute. There was a lot of cute in this.
Yeah, there was.
Little hidden little digs here and there all over in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
So then we get to Emily setting the guinea pigs free, and Jesse comes over to look for Tulip. She's in Albuquerque, but Cass is inside, so it's time for the boys to make up.
Yeah, and we learned about what happened since the last time we saw Cassidy, which, after you saw Cassidy catch fire a couple episodes ago and Jesse walked back in to finish supper like nothing happened, we really weren't sure what to think. Did Jesse just say like fuck you and let you burn, or what? And then we find out that Jesse did put Cassidy out, and
not very quick.
Well, and he says, and then Jesse's like, yeah, I wasn't quick enough, and Cassie's like, well, the fact that you did, shows what kind of person you are, so we get to see that Jesse wasn't as big of a dick at that point as we were led to believe he was, but the fact that he didn't come looking for Cassidy up until now, and I don't even think he was there looking for Cassidy. He just kind of stumbled onto Cassidy, so.
Yeah, he was there looking for Tulip.
Yeah. So I mean, what if he had this friendship with Cassie? If he put this guy out, when he realizes he's actually a vampire on fire, he puts him out. Why doesn't he go looking for him afterwards? Why does it take him? Who knows how long it's been since that happened to come and actually find him now?
Well, assuming that again, we have to assume a lot in this because we don't know how he got the Jesus bone.
Yeah.
So maybe he knows that Cassidy is in Tulip's care. And, he'll get better when he gets better, or he won't fuck him, He's an abomination, la, la, la. And that's kind of where his mind was. But, he's also his friend, so.
Yeah. Yeah, and this also kind of that friendship between the two of them, And especially, once they kind of get the apologies out of the way, then we get to, their usual banter coming back.
Right, you want to shag and hold hands.
Yeah,
and,
what do you fancy a shag, holding hands? What?
And if I was you and I came to you and said I'd killed the mayor, what would you do?
I'd help you hide the body,
like a true friend would.
Seriously, I mean that is like the ultimate level of friendship right there. If somebody will help you hide a body, that's somebody you want in your life.
Let me tell you, for those of you listening, Adam and I did a long cross-country road trip, and there was a time or two on that trip where we might have had to bury a body.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure Adam was with me 100%.
Oh, yeah, I had your back.
To the crack house.
Oh, the crack house.
We got to tell that story one day.
Oh yeah, that's almost a podcast in and of itself, right there.
It is a podcast. My friend Vega wants to do a podcast where people tell their side of the story if it's two different sides.
Okay.
I think we might have a little differing versions, but pretty much they're going to be dead the same.
Yeah, it's pretty much identical on both ends there.
It was miserable. It was one of the most memorable trips of my life.
Yeah, I mean it's a hell of a story.
Yeah. All right, we'll tell it one day. So we got to wrap this up.
Yeah.
So after they've made buddies and they're gonna have a shag, they need angel hands to work the phone. And Cassie's like, "Well, fuck, I know where to get those."
Yeah.
And I was like, "How's he gonna get those?" Again, it wasn't on my toes, but
I was thinking the same thing. It's like, how does he know how to get angel hands?
Right, he just got an angel laying around. Oh, he does.
Yeah.
All right. So Jesse calls Tulip and leaves her a message, and she listens to it, or it plays, while she sits bleeding from the mouth lightly.
Yeah. Yeah, it looked like she maybe got hit. Yeah,
she bit her lip bad.
Or maybe she just got slapped once or walked into a wall or something.
Yeah, maybe. But she sits across from a man in the yellow tracksuit, which I thought was going to be the bride or John Turturro of some sort. And it turns out it is Carlos, and he is about to get tenderized.
Yeah. Well, she had that whole little table full of like implements. That she was
tenderizing Carlos with the intent of taking him back to feed him to Cassidy. Do you think?
No, I think she was just working out her frustrations for what happened in the past.
All right, I'm good with that. Now, one more thing about Cassidy that's just, did nobody think, why don't we just chuck Walter in there? All he does is lay on the couch. I mean, just chuck him in there.
Yeah, but that's the last of Tulip's family. She's not going to throw her family to the vampire.
I'm just saying, if she's about to head out on the road, she might want to tie this loose end because she ain't gonna be there to protect him no more and take care of him. So
Yeah,
this
and
could have been a nice, peaceful
I
way.
think Jesse was another one that was taking care of him before she came back. So, if her and Jesse are both gone, who's taking care of Walter?
Right. So I
Maybe
thought that
Emily's
made
gonna
sense
but
to get rid of him. It could have helped Cassidy along the way, but Miles is good enough.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they'd have shown Tulip doing that might have pushed people over the edge, because that's, as badass as she is.
I got you.
Yeah, throwing family to a vampire, that's hardcore.
Was one thing, drunk Walter is something else.
Exactly.
All right, but Jesse does say in his message that he would love her until the end of the world.
Yes.
So that's coming up several times now, so that's good. We're getting that back in track.
Yes.
And why does it say this? Why was this made to be so difficult?
Oh, the whole going after Carlos?
Oh yeah, why was that? Yeah, why was that so difficult? Like she told Cassidy, like, I'm gonna need your help. We're gonna go after Carlos. He's a bad man. And like she got slapped once, tied him to a chair.
Yeah, I mean, when she was initially going after Jesse to undertake this task, I think it was more along the lines of, we need revenge. We need to do this because of what he did to us. Then when Jesse was out, she's like, okay, well, I got this guy wrapped around my finger. I can have him come with me and we can take care of this nonsense. But yeah, the fact, she did it by herself and with minimal effort, it looks like,
apparently as easy as getting a Jesus phone.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Tulip don't need no man to take down Carlos. Tulip's a badass woman in her own right.
She is. And we all love her for it. But
yeah, she's
show us.
Yeah.
We want to see her be a badass.
Because outside of that first episode, we haven't really seen her do anything else crazy yet.
We want to see her kick his ass, so show it. Let us see it.
I mean, maybe we'll see it next episode.
By the end of this season. I don't think by the end of this season, we're going to see her kick anybody's ass.
I mean, I'm hoping that in the finale, we see a little bit of what she does to Carlos, but I mean, it's an hour and 20-minute episode, so we'll get a little bit more time than usual.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
I think so, because
that's good to know.
Because Talking Preacher's on at like 10:20 or something like that, so they're giving an extra 20 minutes.
Screw Chris Hardwick. I'm better than
Damn
Chris
right.
Hardwick. We're better than Chris Hardwick.
Yeah, we're more entertaining too.
I want that Hardwick money though.
Send somebody AMC a copy of this.
Yeah, because we can get away with all the cussing. Yeah, they'll be like, the guy with the crooked smile. No, not him.
Yeah.
So now we do the Cowboy Rewind. We're gonna call it 8.5 minutes of the cowboy returning to Ratwater and home, and Ratwater and home, and Ratwater and home, and 77 fucking times.
Yeah.
It was long. It was too long.
Yeah.
I got it about halfway through. Minute 4, I was like, okay, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. The first time they showed it, I was a little pissed off. I was like, okay, well, you've got like 10 minutes of the episode left, and you're showing me the same thing you showed me in episode 2. And then, oh, wait a minute. Now episode 6. And now the start of this episode. It's like, okay, did you really need to recap the last few episodes to get us to where we are now to continue the story forward? Oh, wait a minute. You're going to do it again. A little bit faster this time. And then again. And again and again and again and again and again and again and again. And faster and faster.
All right, we get it. He was in hell. Boom.
Yes.
And it doesn't even tell you that until finally, after, like I said, 77 times, DeBlanc and Fior come down the stairs amongst the bodies on the floor, taking simple precautions not to step on anyone or anything, and then ask him simply if he wants this to be over. And well, then it says, hell.
Yeah, you get the big car out hell. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I got that, like I said, 4 minutes ago.
Yeah. Well, and even if you weren't sure, as soon as you saw the boots hit the ground, and you realize that the angels are there, okay, put 2 and 2 together. The angels were going to hell. All of a sudden, the angels show up. This is hell.
Got it. And you could have rewound it twice, 3 times. I get what they were going for, but it was really super long.
Yeah.
So they say, he goes, he was so great. He goes, what's the job? He goes, we got a job for you. What's the job? He goes, well, come with us. And bam, he just shoots him like, fuck it. If you got a job, tell me what it is.
Yeah. And now my question is in hell, do they come back to life?
I think that's what we saw at the tree before it cuts to Jesse and Cassidy. there's a bright light comes out of the sky and illuminates.
Oh, I must have completely missed that. Okay, yeah, because they said they don't always.
So
they don't
I
always.
do believe we saw them reinvigorate light. Yeah,
Yeah, because they say they don't always reinvigorate in the same spot where they died. So yeah,
right.
outside of town, it makes sense. Okay.
But Fior is not does not mince his words. Says simply, we want you to kill somebody. Who? A preacher. And that's like, oh, fuck yeah, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So
and especially like, after his the story that they've told with the cowboy and the preacher, who is directly responsible for the death of his wife and child because he wasn't able to get home in time because he shot his horse.
Horse, wife, child. In that order. Horse first, wife second, daughter third.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. I wrote it down in here and it says in that order. But
yeah, I mean
but
yeah, I mean they set up the preacher as the bad guy, and they set up this guy having a deep hatred of preachers. So to say, hey, we need you to kill a preacher, all of a sudden I'm sure that guy just got a massive heart on. He's like, yeah, let's do this.
Okay, I don't want to talk about the end of anything because the end of how the comic book ends is I don't know that they can go that way. Let's just say that.
Yeah, that would.
I don't know how they're going to end the whole thing, but I do have a feeling that the Cowboy's going to be around for a while.
Yeah, I mean, they after his first appearance in the second episode, they put his name in the credits. So if that's any indication that he's going to be sticking around, I'd say it's a good one. But yeah,
so yeah, there wasn't a reinvigorate light in the sky, and then it switches to Cassie and Jesse under the tree, and it looks like they're burying Miles. But what they're really doing is digging up the bodies of the angels that Cassidy had gotten rid of to get their hands.
Yeah,
then they toss Miles and Brewski in with them,
and all the other animals that were in that room. Yeah, little pet cemetery going on there.
Now, I don't know if you had the closed captioning on and could hear what they said, but did he said gone to Texas?
I think he said God coming to Texas.
God coming to Texas. Okay, I thought it was going to Texas, and I was like, that's one of the trades.
Yeah, it's just I forgot what it was, but he's like, God coming to Texas, that'll be something.
Yeah. So that was the first trade, right?
Gone to Texas was the first trade, yeah.
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 So I was trying to put that in there just because the comic book me wanted it, I guess. But what you say makes a lot more sense. And that's where we get left off here. Now, we have a few questions that I'd like to address. And one is our theory on the mascot being that God was on vacation and watching Genesis do whatever Genesis did. And then the mascot goes and doesn't show up for an episode and blows a fucking hole in my theory. But does it?
Not necessarily. I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think with all that's going on and Jesse bringing God to Anvil, he spooked and he got the fuck out of Dodge.
Yeah.
Deep feet. So that's why no mascot. He took off. He's on the lam.
Yeah. And without getting in too much into the comic book, this is kind of a reoccurring theme in the book. I mean, this shouldn't be really much of a spoiler to it, but in the book, Jesse is hunting down God.
Well, he says that, and I think it's a trailer for the next episode. He says, if God doesn't give us, we're gonna kick his ass.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I know in the comic book it says we're gonna fucking kill him, but it's basically the same thing.
Well, I mean, even in the book, in the beginning, Jesse didn't want to kill God. He just wanted God to answer for what he had done, answering for basically turning his back on his creation of mankind and all stuff like that. It was just Jesse wanted answers, and he had. And
this is where we come to what will probably be the finale. Well, it'll definitely be the finale, but next episode when he's going to make this call. God can't show up. It's the end of the series if God shows up. We know there's another season. So God's not showing up in Anvil. I mean, it's not happening.
No, and especially God's not going to confront Jesse face to face while Jesse has this power.
Right, because this is a power that ununderstood, never existed before.
And I want to say that they've said this is a power that actually either rivals or is greater than God's power.
Yeah, I'm not sure that they've said it's just something different.
Yeah. In the books, yeah, this was a power that rivaled gods. So prior to this Genesis being in existence, there was nothing that could threaten the Almighty. But now you've got this new thing out there, this unknown that nobody knows what it can and can't do, and it is a legitimate threat. Most people aren't going to go running headlong into something that they completely have no understanding of. But
I wouldn't think so.
So the fact that the theory about God being this mascot it still makes sense, and I think it's still a very valid idea.
It's still a keen theory, and even if it's just so, if we're just reading too much into it, and maybe the mascot is just there to be a goof.
Maybe. I mean,
that's all fine, and that's all fine and well and good. But if he's not, that's why he took off, because he felt the heat, and he's not going to answer to Jesse Custer or Genesis.
No, so he doesn't answer to mortal man. Exactly.
So that's possible. Also, will we see the Man in White in the finale?
Maybe at the very end, depending on how the show wraps up. If they're going
say Grail again,
I hope so. I mean,
I think they need to. I think the Grail has got to be they got to set up Grail for season 2, right? It's got to be a part of it.
See, and even I don't even want it to be set up for. I mean, maybe reference it again once or twice, but I don't think it should be the big thing in season 2. I think season 2 should focus on another big story altogether before the Grail even really comes into it. Unless you want to have like a B plot of what the Grail's doing or what they're all about. But I think
I'd like to see the mean old lady and the people with the tattoos, and I want to deal with that next season.
Yeah, that should be
sure we will.
That should be a big part of what next season is. I mean, unless it's a short story that they can do in half the season, and they're going to split the season up into 2 arcs. I mean, you can do the first half with the mean old lady and the guys with the tattoos and the death of John Custer. And
we'll see what I don't know if they're doing all 16 in one run or if we're getting 8 and 8 like The Walking Dead.
It's 13, so maybe like a 6 and 7 split.
It's 13.
Yeah, maybe a 6 and 7 split. Probably. I mean, AMC loves to split their shows. They love to split the seasons.
I don't like it. No. I would just rather that we got to do 13 weeks in a row.
Well, see, at least like with Walking Dead, it's only like a few, like 3-4 months in between. Whereas like the last season of Breaking Bad and the last season of Mad Men, they'd filmed all 10 or whatever episodes and then made you wait a fucking year between part 1 and 2.
Sorry, bro. Sopranos fan. I got it on lock as far as waiting for a series.
Oh no, I hear you. I know that feeling too. But to have the stuff done and be like, oh yeah, we've already shot all this stuff, and here's the first 5 episodes, and come back next year for the rest of it.
I know.
Why?
I understand not wanting to broadcast during the holidays. I get that.
And, well, yeah. There's certain times you don't.
September, October, November. Yeah, you're talking about 10 episodes. But if they're going to run when they did, if they're going to do summer, they might as well do all 13.
Yeah,
in a row. Just give it to us all in one go, and let our summer be filled with Preacher. Because now we're running desperately short with these dog days of August coming.
That's right.
And all I have is nothing. Nothing.
Yeah.
Everything that I love is coming to an end, except for Roadies is in the middle of its season, but that's only 5 more weeks.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's all coming to an end. But I've been thrilled with this series so far this season.
Yeah, it's I wasn't sure. I've said it time and time again. I wasn't sure what to expect based on the initial trailers before the show aired, and I was scared. Taking a property that I love so much, and there's always going to be that. Are they going to stay truthful to it? Are they going to make absurd changes for no apparent reason? And the show's done a pretty good job of staying true to the core of the book. They've made a lot of like random changes that don't make any sense to the people that have read the book. Changing Tulip. Yeah,
I think some of the changes they made were the right changes.
I'll agree with you.
This is Garth Ennis said in one of the panels from Comic-Con. He said that the Preacher comic book starts at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Yeah,
and it just goes from there. And you can't do that with a TV show because we have to ease you into Cassidy as a vampire, and that God is a character, and there's powers and angels, and all right, now you got that in these 10 episodes. We got that. We're good.
Yeah.
And even the people that haven't watched the series that I've talked to, they're down. They love it.
Yeah.
But they're like, I'm still, I don't understand this and I don't understand that. And some people don't understand shit. They don't understand anything, and they ask questions about it, and I don't even want to answer because I'm like, are you watching the show?
Yeah, that's my mom's husband, actually.
No, I just watch it and I understand it.
Yeah.
So let's
that's my mom's husband.
Takes an IQ of 6 or more.
The episode will be like 2 minutes in, and he'll want to know exactly what's going on. I'm just like, dude, watch that fucking show.
Yeah, I know. The girlfriend does that all the time. Oh, what's gonna happen? No, shut up and watch.
Well. There's a difference between like, oh, what's gonna happen, and like, oh, what just happened, which is what he's like. The Saint could have walked into the bar, shot everybody, and he'd be like, why did he do that? It's like, well, haven't you watched the last like 8 episodes? It kind of explains why he did all that.
Right. If you haven't watched those episodes, then why did you jump in on number 9?
Exactly.
So, but hey, next week we will do our wrap up. I'm sure with an hour and 20 episode, we are going to do a supersized wrap up, and we'll name our favorite parts from this season and things that we're looking forward to and hope for next season.
Definitely.
So that sounds like it's planned. And then the week after that, we're going to start with we're going to do a little comic booky thing on the Rising Stars, because you can't get enough of us.
No. Oh,
this two minds together, it's so entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. And we thank you for watching. If you're still watching, subscribe, tell your friends. We got one more episode to go. And we'll find other ways to keep you entertained. We'll get at them on some other shows.
Yeah.
And I guess that'll about wrap it up. You got anything else?
No, I think we covered it. Well, I don't know if we mentioned this on the show. I know we were talking about before, but the sign for the church in next week's episode. Yeah, everyone loves the church signs, and they've been pretty fantastic.
And 2 episodes without a good church sign.
Yeah. But the sign that they show for next week's episode is very fitting for what we know is coming. And for those that didn't catch it, it says, "Today meet God, tomorrow TBD."
That's fair.
Yeah.
If I saw that on my local church, my local church, there's a million of them. But if I saw one on any of the 19 million churches in my area, I would laugh. I would think that was funny.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah, I mean, especially with Jesse's ridiculous claims that he's bringing God to Anvil. I mean, who wouldn't want to go to church for that?
All right, here's my last question for you: is will we get an answer to what the machine is controlling?
I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. I mean, if they're taking next season out of Anvil, then it's almost pointless not to. I mean, I'm almost gonna think that we're gonna spend a little bit more time in Anvil next season, because they're setting stuff up.
I can understand if what we want, and as far as the old lady and the tattoo and all those people, if they stay in Anvil and that's like in the town nearby, I'm good with that.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm okay as long as there's a little bit of distance to travel in between.
Yeah,
I'm okay.
Yeah, because they seem to have set up some stuff in Anvil still that they haven't answered, like the machine, the sinkholes, stuff like that. Emily, yeah.
Emily is a complete mystery to us because she's not in the comic.
No.
So she's Daryl Dixon. She's a wild card.
Yeah, I mean, and if they do hit the road, what happens, Emily? Does, because I don't think Emily's going to drag her 3 kids along with her on this crazy-ass road trip that they're going on.
And giving her 3 kids kind of saddles her to town.
Yeah.
So I don't think she's on the ride. She doesn't get on the bus.
No,
she's no Mary Prankster.
I mean, so either they're gonna keep him in Anvil for a while longer, or she's gonna be off the show when they hit the road.
So with her and with W. Earl Brown getting another gig, his clock might get punched.
Plus we have to see what's gonna happen.
Do you think we're gonna have a big death in the next episode?
I think so. I think it's just one of those things where there are a lot of like extra characters that a lot of named characters that they kill. It's not like Game of Thrones amount of named characters, but they there are plenty of people that they could kill that would just like kind of holy shit, you know.
Yeah, there's a few.
I mean, Miles. This episode was a bit of a holy shit. They just killed the mayor.
Big. Yeah, that was big. And again, yeah, I didn't expect it. I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah.
I didn't. The girl in the bathtub, I thought was because I heard him say we left the radio on for her, so I assumed it was the travel agent.
Oh.
And that's where my mind was. And so when I saw that it was the Zoe Bell knockoff, I was like, oh shit.
Thank you for saying that. I was wondering, I'm like, I couldn't
Zoe
place
Bell
where
knockoff.
I couldn't place where she looked like. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it.
Thanks. So, all right, that's going to do it for this week's Santa podcast. Until next time, love many, trust the few, and do harm to no one.